right. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Ari.
Hello there.
How you doing,
Welcome
my
back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I see lots of people in the chat. Welcome back, and welcome to Mentorship Monday. Ari, you want to tell us what is Mentorship Monday?
Mentorship Mondays. Okay, so this is a season 2. This is a streaming program we have created last year, and we have amazing guests every single time. We are trying to share some knowledge, share some, folks to follow on Twitter, some good content to watch, and some amazing tips.
And the
That's
whole
pretty
goal
much.
is to connect everybody in the community with people that are considered experts in their field, people that have created content, people that have done their work, that have put in the work for the community. We bring them on, we ask them a bunch of questions, and then we're going to open up the stream at the end and have the audience and our viewers ask some questions. Before we jump into the show, we always start with announcements. 2 weeks ago almost, we started doing the HackerOne Ambassador CTF. What is that and how's it going?
So we created the World Cup. It's international competition for everyone in the ambassador program. The ambassador program, for those who actually don't know, is a program we created to get people together in the community in different regions around the world. I will share a link later in the chat. If you are close to any one of our ambassadors, reach out to them and try to join the club. So that's pretty awesome. So basically, the World Cup is a competition between them. Has 2 stages. One is a CTF. The other one is a back bounty competition. And we have just closed the CTF competition, which was a qualifier for the back bounty round. So we'll be announcing later on Twitter the back bounty brackets and how this will continue later this week.
Can we show the teams and the scoreboard for this really quick? Are you okay with me sharing?
Yeah, so it's yeah, definitely. So keep in mind that there are a lot of individuals in that score, and only the ambassador clubs were qualifying to the next round. So the top 16 teams qualified.
I'm just gonna start it from right here. So there we go. These are India HackerOne Club, US Club, Rickard, as always, I see you in here. Pune, Tel Aviv. Those are all the different clubs that have pretty much participated.
Exactly. And Gujarat was the first team to complete the CTF. So congratulations to them. And Nuke DX was actually the first individual completing all the challenges. So congratulations as well.
Nuke DX is always doing all of our CTFs. Even if you go to the other CTFs that we have done for Hacky Holidays and that kind of stuff, he's always very, very involved. Do you want to tell everybody what was the last objective of the CTF? What was everyone supposed to hack into, and what were we doing in the story?
Yeah, so basically we are having a World Cup competition, and this is similar to football, soccer, right? So the goal of the CTF was actually to avoid Messi from being transferred again to Barcelona, right?
Yep. And if the hackers would have hacked into the site properly, then they could stop him from being traded and going back. And I think a good number of people really made it happen. So
yeah,
if you're part of that
so
group, congratulations.
Yeah, a lot of excitement.
All right, let's bring on our guests. Chat, do you know who our guests are this week? Has anyone been following us on Twitter? Does anyone not know who our guests are for this stream? Oh, and now while we wait, we do have a giveaway at the end of this stream. So every time we do a stream, we try to do some giveaway at the end of it. So if you want to win access to Portswigger's BurpSuite certification, is that what it's called? Yeah, a certification for it. It's completely free. That's on us. We're going to give away a few of those. So stick around if you want to win access to it. We also have a giveaway to do some HackerOne swag, like we do always. That's going to be for 5 people at the end. So if you want to win, stick around. Once the interview is over, we'll bring everybody. We'll do a giveaway.
And by the way,
go for it.
Let me interrupt you for a second. Nice hair. Nice
So
haircut.
it's the
I'm
pink.
not seeing the pink one
It's still
anymore.
you see this. You still see the pink a little bit somewhere
Oh,
here, but
okay.
it's gone. You can barely see it now. I don't know if I like it or not, Ari, but we can
It's
talk
okay.
about
It's
that.
looking good.
We can sync offline. It's fine. All right, let's welcome our guests, Farah and Vicky, to the stream. How you doing?
Hey
Hey.
there.
How you guys both
Hi, how's it
doing?
going?
Good, good. Thank you both for joining us. You guys both know that I'm a big fan, and I'm also really excited to have you both on the stream. So, thank you so much for taking the time. I know, Farah, it's a little bit late your time. You're a complete opposite
Yeah,
of the world.
I mean, to make all these time zones coordinated, this is a very normal time actually.
Uh-huh. What
And for
time is
you,
it for you, Farah?
It's currently 10:40 p.m. at
oof,
Oh, that is really late.
I feel like we kept the last meeting, the best meeting for last for you. And once you do this, the night could be over
yeah.
and go to sleep.
Yeah, I've gone through my Monday blues and this is how I'm ending it.
It's a great way to end it, Farah. I like that. So I'm very familiar with both of you. Ari is also very familiar with the both of you. But for those in our audience who are not very familiar or they don't know much about your background, Farah, starting with you, tell us who you are and what do you do?
So I'm Farah. I have a YouTube channel where I share resources about bug bounty and web application hacking. I recently also made a vlog in SF, so it's my YouTube channel is a little bit all over the place, but you might find something useful. I'm also a triager at Bugcrowd. I also post about that sometimes, and I'm building a YouTube page. I'm building an Instagram page as well, where I try to share resources about cybersecurity for the general public.
Very cool. What about you, Vicky?
Hi everyone, my name is Vicky and it's super great to be with y'all today. So I am a developer and a hacker, and I'm also a technical blogger, and I currently work as a developer evangelist at an application security company called Shift Left, and I also authored a book called Bug Bounty Bootcamp that aims at helping beginners get started with bug bounties.
Awesome. Hold the thought on the
That's awesome.
YouTube channel and the book. We're going to come back to those specifically in a little bit and
For
talk about
sure.
it.
And we will also share the URL so everyone can follow. But we have some amazing questions here, and let's start with one of the best ones. I want to know. I'm very intrigued to know why do you get and how do you get into creating content, and why it's important for you, and to share this knowledge for the community. Let's start with Farah.
Okay, so I was actually pen testing for a while, and when the pandemic happened, I was in the middle of finishing an internship, but I was also completing my college degree. So I was a little bit in the middle. I was looking for jobs, and I was also doing some bug bounties on the side. Uh, while I was interviewing for jobs, and I ended up posting about those bounties on LinkedIn. People were really interested. They had a lot of questions, and I felt like I I could share my resources, like what I had learned and how I got there from pen testing to bug bounty. And I think that's when I decided to make my first YouTube video. Uh, it did much better than I had ever expected it to. It was more like a vlog, me just sharing resources. And then I thought maybe I have something here and I should try to build this, and just started from there, I guess.
What about
It's
you,
great.
Vicky?
Nice. That's super cool, Farah. I remember your first YouTube video, actually. I watched it. And when it first came out, when you just had one video, and I just thought that it was super well made, and you have great editing skills and great hosting skills.
That's
Thank you so
awesome.
So
much. That means a lot. I actually really liked your blogs before I started, and uh, I mean the way you explain bugs was pretty different from what I had seen in super technical blogs. So I guess we're all fans of each other's content here.
I
That's
love
thank
great.
you
seeing the
so much.
interaction.
Yeah, so for me personally, I started writing technical blogs. Like I was a blogger for a really long time. I've been trying to make like different kinds of content since then. But I think what really got me started with sharing my knowledge is with blogs. And I started doing that because I was bug bounty hunting all day, right? I was sitting in front of the laptop just by myself, and it was starting to get quite lonely. You know, I wanted a way to actually interact with the world with what I'm learning, and I want a way to track my progress too. So I thought that a technical blog was a great way to do both of those. Like, it's a great way to track my own progress with learning web security. It's also a way for me to start making some friends in the security world, since I didn't know anyone who also was into web application hacking or penetration testing at that point.
So you both started doing these for different reasons, but also I feel like there is a community aspect to this, right? Of teaching the community, teaching people that are not in the cybersecurity space, or people that want to get into cybersecurity space. Did that play a role in any of that at all? Let's start with you, Vicky.
Yeah, for sure. So it didn't start out that way, actually. I just wanted to sort of make friends in the industry, but then I realized that one of the best ways to make friends in the cybersecurity world is to actually contribute something to the world, right? So since I started sharing my content and helping others learn the concepts that I was learning at the moment, a lot of people started reaching out to me and, you know, connect with me. And then I realized that I was unintentionally doing this thing where I'm teaching a lot of people what I was learning at the moment, and that brought me a lot of joy as well. And it started this whole new world of content creation where um, I can learn things, but at the same time, I can help other people who were having the same struggles as me or who were interested in the same things as me, learn new things, and build a community that way.
Awesome. What about you, Farah? Was there any, you know, anything particularly that was it an aspect of paying forward or helping the community, a big part of this journey for you?
Yeah, so I think I feel like I have started from scratch when it comes to bug bounties and learning about web applications, because I don't have a formal education. And when it came to these resources, I felt like so my first video is actually just me telling people about the resources that I used to learn, and I felt like I needed to share that with people just because they had so many questions, and it felt like something was maybe missing with that kind of communication. So I tried to do that. So that's where I guess the community aspect, or just like that urge to share with others, came in.
I think it's amazing to see both of you just, having different reasons for yourself to go and do content first, and then finding the reasoning that, you want to go a step further. It's no longer just for you. It's also about the community and people that want to get involved in the community.
Quick question that is, actually not in our script, but how long have you been creating content, Farah and Vicky?
I think for me it's
Farah,
been
you wanna go
a little
first?
over a year. Yeah, it's been a little over a year for me, I think.
And for me, I've been writing and documenting my own learning since maybe 2016, but I've been publishing them. Like, I've been writing on the internet as like in the form of a technical blog since 2019.
It's pretty cool. And the follow-up question, this is actually on script. Sorry, Ben, I'm breaking the rules. But are any other content creators out there? No need to say Nahamsek. We all know he's great. But let's talk about someone else. Like, any other content creators out there that you took inspiration, or you actually took the idea, or you love them and you wanted to also contribute.
And just to make it clear, it could be even people outside cybersecurity that you've seen their content. You were like, oh, I want to do this for cybersecurity in my field. Let's start with you, Vicky.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I think this is actually a good opportunity to introduce something that I want to talk about like further in this live stream. So I recently like learned about the idea of like learn in public, and one of the great like learn in public evangelists is Sean Wang. He's a software developer from Singapore, and he wrote a book called the Coding Career Book or something like that. Oh, the Coding Career Handbook. And he also has a blog that sort of talks about how he thinks technical people should learn. So it's not just in cybersecurity. So he talks a lot about how to further your career in software engineering, in technology in general. And I think everyone should check out his blog and also his book. And some of the chapters in his book is actually free. So I recommend that people go and download those resources. And one of the chapters is called Learn in Public, which really documents his thought processes about why technical people should share their learning process and should create content, how it benefits the creator himself or herself, and how it benefits the world in general. And I think it was a very, very compelling sort of piece of information that prompted me to also start to, create more content and try out different ways of creating content and teaching other people. So yeah, definitely check that out.
I love that. I think it's very relatable. I think it's different. There's a huge difference between knowing something, like let's say for us with web hacking, there's a difference between understanding web hacking and understanding it to a point so you can explain it to an audience without knowing their background. I think it's a lot more complicated to be able to teach that kind of stuff. You have to really, really understand those topics in order for you to be able to teach it to somebody else or transfer that knowledge to somebody. So I'm really excited to see what this learning public is, and I'm kind of assuming it's about that kind of. But thank you for that. I'm going to check it out and see where it goes. I'm intrigued.
Sure. Yeah, I think it really applies to cybersecurity people as well. It's not specifically about InfoSec, but it's about learning technology and how you can further your career doing that.
Very cool. What about you, Farah?
I don't think there's been any specific content creator. I think I take inspiration from a lot of people in general, and recently I have been experimenting a lot. It mostly comes from this place where I feel like I need to be able to explain these concepts to people who aren't as technical, and I have a lot of people around me who are not from cybersecurity or anything technical. So I think that's always been my thing. I feel like if I explain it to someone, that's where my inspiration of my content style comes from.
And there's a question in the chat that I just wanted to jump into, if you guys don't mind. Delta Syntax Farah wanted to know, you said that you've been doing content and the stuff that you're doing right now for almost a year, a little bit over a year. What was your background before this? What did you do before that, if you don't mind sharing?
So before content, I was actually pen testing. I was doing an internship because, like I said, I was still in college, so I was doing an internship um, in web application pen testing and some mobile apps and stuff like that. And before that, I was doing another internship where it was a lot of cybersecurity general like stuff. Like we used to go to trainings and did a bit of pen testing. So little bit of everything. But my background like formal background is I was studying media. So that's my formal I don't know what answer they wanted, but I gave them both.
No, I think it's just I think the question is mostly about the growth we have had in this. You had a huge growth, so I think people are very curious to know, like, okay, if you've done this in 1 year, what was your background like that got you here? Was it related to cybersecurity, or was it you came from a different background and just worked very hard to get here? Which I think it's a combination of both. It's just seeing people's growth in a short amount of time. It's something that's very inspiring to a lot of people. Vickie, we talked about your book. You have a book. Tell us a little bit about it. What's the book about? Where's it cover, and when did it come out?
Sure. So my new book is called Bug Bounty Bootcamp, and it came out just last year in November. And its idea is to really introduce beginners to all aspects of web hacking and really show how someone can go from no technical background to finding and exploiting and reporting bugs to bug bounty programs. And it's a super technical book. We dive into all sorts of vulnerabilities in the book, and we also explore a lot of different aspects of hacking that people can go on ahead to explore. Like we talk about API hacking, mobile hacking, a little bit, but web hacking in detail.
And tell us about the process a little bit. How did you decide that was the thing you wanted to do? That you wanted to write a book? what sparked the idea, and how did it start?
Yeah, so it was, I think I started writing my book a little bit, um, so in 2020. So it was after I started writing my blogs, right? And after my blog had quite a big following. And then people were, messaging me about where can I find this particular thing on your blog? And is there a series? Like, which sequence should I read your blog in? What makes sense? Which blog post should I start with? And so that gave me an idea of, sort of building out this learning path for anyone who wants to learn web hacking, right? So I started writing my book with that in mind. So the book is really like how I think one person should go into learning about web security. So it starts from learning about the fundamentals of web technology, and then goes into how to do recon, and it goes into how to actually exploit the vulnerabilities you find, and then it goes into the more advanced topics like mobile hacking, right? So it's the book obviously has a lot more content than my blogs in general. But the idea is really to make something that's easier to follow for a beginner than just disjointed blog posts.
That makes a lot of sense, and I will say that yeah, it's very hard to actually find content to learn on a steady pace and like an organized way. It's so much information out there that a lot of the time is overwhelming for a lot of people. So these kind of books
Yeah,
are pretty great.
for sure.
Well,
Like even if you're just following one blogger, right? There's so many great technical bloggers on the internet right now. But even if you're just following one blogger with a lot of content, it sometimes can get really confusing as to where you should start and which are the best blog posts that you should read for that particular topic right now.
Yeah, and there is actually a question about in the chat. How Crit says how they, I mean, you tackle new chapters while learning and experimenting, or just an overview is enough. Does that make sense? I
Hmm.
mean, and he's making or she's making a follow up question. It's actually in the journey, not only in the book. When you're learning or working, how do you handle new things, ideas, or chapters that are not really familiar with?
yeah, how do you learn new things when it's for you that you want to learn something? Whether it's something you've known a little bit about, it's a complete new topic. How do you decide how to learn these things?
So I think I remember, Farah, you mentioned like about 10 minutes ago how you explain things in your videos, right? I think I take a very similar approach. I would go look at a topic and sort of read the general idea of it first, right? And then I would start to think, how would I explain it to someone else? What are the concept gaps that I would need to know in order to explain this to someone who doesn't understand it fully, right? So let's say that I'm trying to explain things like CSRF. If I want to explain this properly to someone, I probably also need to explain how HTML forms work, how auto submission works, how CSRF token works, right? And then I would go and read up on those topics and see if I understand them completely or not. And so on and so forth, right? So it's very much, I think learning is very much an iterative process. You shouldn't expect that you're done with learning with one topic just by reading one blog post or one video, one course, right? It's always um, what more can I find out about this topic? And do I understand this topic fundamentally, every single detail, so that I can explain it to someone else? And if they ask me questions, I can actually answer them.
I think the learning thing, it's a never-ending journey. You just don't stop. You just continue to learn more and more stuff. As you get better at it. Farah, what about you?
So how would I handle learning new things?
Yeah, how do you
Um,
learn new stuff? If there's something you want, there's a new topic, something that you've never done. How do you learn?
so I mean the first thing would be to just look for blogs or some kind of content, but then like Vicky said, it doesn't just stop there. So whenever I'm going through something, I try to just stop I mean, whenever I reach like a block or some kind of block where I don't understand something, I completely stop and until I find the answer, and I fill that gap, and that's only when I continue. So even while reading super technical blogs, I pause when I don't understand. I try to make myself understand by breaking it down into smaller chunks, and that's how I kind of take an approach to learning something new.
Yeah, and there is a question there like for us. Nah, I'm sick and Rose. If we want to share something, and if you want my opinion, I think that the best part is to go slow with small things, right? Don't get overwhelmed because there is so much information out there that you'll probably get burned out pretty fast. So try to learn topic by topic, go slow, but fully understand those topics. Like for example, IDORs, cross scripting, or whatever you want to learn, and invest time on that, and maybe do some CTF, learn, practice, and when you master that, move on to the next one. Don't try to read everything at the same time because you will probably get a little bit crazy.
My way of learning is probably not really healthy. I have a obsessive personality sometimes, where if I want to do something and I want to learn something, I obsess about it a lot. Honestly, just Google stuff. I'm very intrigued by Kubernetes and cloud right now, and I really want to learn more and more. So I've been just obsessively Googling things about Kubernetes. I just picked up a book. Someone on Twitter, if you go on my Twitter page, there's a hacker named Octavian that just did a giveaway, and I was like, well, what is this book? Like, it says Kubernetes. I impulsively bought it, and it's sitting on my desk right now, and I'm probably going to go through it. It's just there's a lot of resources nowadays, right? Like, it's not the early ages of the early 2000s when there aren't any resources. There's content creators like yourselves, Stoke, the Cyber Mentor, you name it. There's a ton of people that are making content, and great content that it's accessible, it's free. If you really want to learn, it's easy. But I like what all of you said, is just pick what you want to learn, break it into smaller bits, and then just start learning those smaller bits, go after them, tackle them. And also, it's never going to stop. Once you learn those topics, you have to put them into practice. Either build something of your own that you can practice on, or find someone that's built something in the past and practice on it. It's never going to learn. If people think that you're going to learn the top 10 OS top 10 and become this master bug bounty hunter, bad news. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work that way. Farah, you, to kind of shift gears a little bit, you have a huge Instagram following. You create content that's a little bit different than what your YouTube channel is. You're educating people on cybersecurity. I've seen you talk about breaches. I've seen you talk about how to get into tech, how to get into cybersecurity. Tell us a bit why you're taking this approach, and why it's important to have people share these kinds of experiences with everybody, especially the general public.
So I think, like I mentioned before, I have a lot of people around me that aren't from cybersec and that aren't from tech. And if I would just talk to my friend about a breach, even in some of the most popular or most like really widely used applications in India, and they would have no idea about it, like this kind of news just does not reach them, which I thought was, I mean, I just thought everyone should know about this. Like, they should at least be informed that these types of things are happening, and this is why security is important, and this is why privacy is important, because I think users need to understand that, like, when we talk about like making laws and stuff, like, even the government is not going to care if people don't care, and people are kind of lax about it here. So I feel like I'm trying to make, like, scare them a little into thinking that this is important, which it is. People don't, like, I think just telling people to enable 2FA is also something that needs to be done, because also I feel like we live in a bubble where we think that 2FA is really basic. I mean, everyone has it, of course, but on Instagram, I get like DMs every other day. My account was hacked, and when I asked them, "Did you enable 2FA?" They're like, "No," and they have so many followers. It just doesn't make sense for you to not have that security.
Yeah.
So I think it came from that place of just educating regular people about these things that are happening in cybersecurity.
I think social media is such a powerful thing to do this kinds of things too. It's not just no longer, people in a certain age range being on Facebook or Instagram. It's, my mom's on Instagram apparently now. So having content like that could explain why these things are important is also very helpful. And I agree. I think these aren't things they teach you in high school or in school anymore. Right? They don't teach you this kind of things. And
Maybe they should, right?
they should. It's I call this like the online hygiene. It's like having the hygiene to go online and be on the internet.
Let's. I actually have a question. Again, not a script. I'm bypassing all the rules. But Farah, do you create content in English most of the time? Have you thought about creating content in your native language, for example? Do you think you have an audience for that?
Yeah, I definitely think I have the audience for that. Sometimes I do think that when I talk about technical things, I'm just more comfortable in English. Uh, but it would be interesting to explore Hindi because there's definitely a huge audience for that. And
Mhm.
maybe someday.
That's great. Yeah, and the reason I'm asking is because we are in constant conversations about creating more content in multiple languages, so we include more and more folks in the community that maybe don't speak English to actually learn and have a chance to learn that. So having you creating content in your own language, that also will be amazing. So another question: how content actually created your life? Do you think it came with any benefits, anything at all? Did that change the way you hack or the way you learn? Has changed any aspects of your previous life before you were creating content? Let's start with Farah again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it gives you a lot of exposure. At least for me, it did. It I've talked about this before. It creates a whole personal brand around you, which is also great. It also changed the way I learn things a lot. I mean, you guys create content, so you might know when you try to teach someone something, you learn it better yourself. And I think that's been a huge thing. Like whenever I feel like something's too challenging for me to learn, uh, like for example, I did a video about H2C smuggling. When I read the blog, I was like, oh my, this is just too heavy, like it's so technical. But I was like, let me just try to break it down, maybe try to teach it to someone, and then I'll understand it. And I think that's a really good thing because I'm learning things that I would have otherwise found super challenging.
That's great. What about you, Vicky? Has
Uh,
creating a book or like writing a book changed your life in any way?
Yeah, for sure. I think beyond the great aspect of your having a personal brand and you actually forming a community in within the cybersecurity space, I think another huge thing for me was motivation, right? I think blogs throughout the past few years or so really kept me motivated in my learning because sometimes, when I'm bug hunting or I am stuck with work, like I don't find a bug for an entire month, I can still say to myself, see, I've learned new things this month. I am making progress this month because I wrote 2 blog posts. And this is proof that I am moving forward instead of just stagnating in my learning. Because I think I'm kind of like restless in that sense where I need to see my own progress. And sometimes it's difficult. You do go through those, you know, phases when you don't find any bugs or you don't have anything um you know like on the money wise that you can show off, or in your job that you can show off. Then you can really have those pieces of evidence to show yourself that you are trying, you are making progress, and um you know y- you will see more progress in the future, and you're not just sitting around all months doing nothing.
Yeah, and I that kind of relates to the imposter syndrome, right? A little bit. A bunch of people maybe are not finding a vulnerability or something in a month, and they are thinking, "Oh, I'm not good at this" or whatever. It happens to me, happens to everyone. So maybe creating a book actually helps, and you see your name in the cover. Actually, I did this by myself, so that's helpful. That's pretty awesome. I don't know if I can write a book. Maybe we can do one in a hamsek with all what we all learn.
I don't know about that, dude. But speaking of learning, and you both have full-time jobs. You're learning and creating content. Uh, how do you manage your time, and also how do you track your progress? If you have a goal, how do you track for it? Let's start off with you, Vicky.
Uh-huh. Sure. Yeah. So I remember last year was really, really difficult for me because I'm having this 9 to 5 job, which I am new at. And I also am like cranking out the book like crazy, right? So basically, how I divided my time was 9 to 5, Monday to Friday is, shift left time. I dedicate all my time during that time period to shift left. And then nights and weekends are for my book, basically. So I sort of separated my time that way, and I was basically working 2 full-time jobs, right? And I think it's very important if you want to do this kind of thing, which I don't recommend long term. It was very exhausting. To really have a goal in mind, right? At that time, I just wanted to get my book out as soon as possible because
Right.
I really want everyone to see. This is what I've been working on for the past year and a half or so. So I was working really hard that I assigned myself basically to write 1 chapter per month or 2 chapters per month for the smaller chapters. And I think in that case, it's really important to set goals, but not be too strict for yourself on that, right? I think with things like content, with things like bug hunting, with things like advancing your career, it's great to have goals, but it's not great to be harsh on yourself for that because things do happen and you can't really control like how many bugs you find per month, right? You can't really control how many dupes you get. In that case, it's really, really important, I think, is to treat yourself with kindness. If you don't meet your goal for some reason, again, look at the content you created, look at the progress you've made in learning, and keep that in mind instead of obsessing over some numerical metric.
That's great.
That's great advice. What about you, Farah?
I think yeah, for I have a 9 to 5 job too. So when that ends, I'm like, okay, I might either concentrate on my YouTube content or I'll do some bug hunting. So that's kind of the division of time, how I manage it with, and then I also have some goals like 2 reels a week on Instagram, something like that. But again, like similar to what Vicky said, I do not try to like put myself as like under pressure. And I mean, I know things happen, and so that's all right. I mean, it took me a while to get to this place where I'm okay with that. But I mean, I would also drive myself insane if I did not find a bug. But I think now I see bug hunting more so as a hobby. I do have a full time job and I have content creation. So I mean, it's just gonna be divided. Some months I'll do a lot of content creation stuff, and some months I'll do more bug hunting than content creation. So, and that's all right. I mean, I think I found my flow with that.
I,
I
I, I
think
will say,
go
sorry,
for
but
it. No, go for it.
I was just going to say that I think that people in watching the videos and learning from content creators, they don't really quite get all the time that takes to create something, right? Like even a small video or like edit a small thing, or of course write a book, which I don't even understand how that happens. But I think people just think that we come with these things overnight, right? Like or oh, you're not creating content that enough, you're not uploading all the videos, you're not, where's your second book, Vickie? Come on. That kind of thing happens, and I think people actually understand like how hard it is and how much time people invest in creating content. So just wanted to say that, and kudos for you both, and appreciate that all you're
I,
doing.
yeah, I like what the both of you said. It's about like having that compassion or that no judgment or guilt thing against yourself of like not saying, oh, I want to learn this thing and I didn't do it, or excuse me, I set up this goal and I didn't do it and feeling guilty about it. I think I don't know what the word is for it, but it's just like I have sometimes this trouble of like not being productive in the days where I don't do anything and give myself a break. The next day I'm just like, oh, I should have worked, I should have done this. But learning to be okay with that, and saying that stuff happens, life happens, and that you're gonna you try your best to do it, and if it didn't happen, it didn't happen. It's just not being hard on yourself is something that a lot of people need to learn, and it just helps how you, I think, operate on a day-to-day basis. Vic, thank you to Smith 1802 for that question. I just wanted to yeah, thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, I love the keeping tracks and the goal things. Those were really good tips. I I think we are. How long? How much time do you have, Ben? We have
I
more.
think we have a few more minutes. There's a few more questions from the chat that I wanted to make sure we address. I think, to be honest, most of the things that we wanted to ask has been asked. There's one last thing I just wanted to ask the both of you before we move on to some of the questions that we have from the chat. Chat, if you have more questions, throw them in there right now. We'll get to them as much as we can. We can't guarantee that we will get to everyone's questions. But last question that we have for you is, if you could go back in time and give yourself an advice, either when you first got into bug bounty or cybersecurity, or if it was when you first got into creating content, what would that be? Let's start with you, Farah.
Um, okay, I think it would be for me to. I guess I would go back and tell myself that you're someone who can do bug bounties too. Like, I think I wish I knew earlier, because I had heard of the concept of bug bounties, and I always thought, uh, I mean, only the super elite top hackers are doing this. And I wish like I had someone more accessible tell me that this is, I mean, you can learn this and do this too. So I guess, yeah, that's something I would go back and change.
What about you?
I think the one thing that I would tell myself in the beginning of my content creation sort of journey is that don't wait until your content is perfect to publish it, and don't wait until you're ready. You're like completely an expert in a topic to teach others, because it really doesn't matter. I think in the technical world, we always have something to learn from each other, right? I still have things I need to learn from the technical concepts that I've learned years ago. I still have so much to learn about, how to program in Python, for example. And I think someone who's learning, just started to learn Python, would have something to teach me as well. So don't wait until you're completely perfect and completely an expert to start teaching others, because you always have something valuable to say. And sometimes just takes too much. If you wait until it's perfect to publish it, then you'll never publish it, right? That, I think that's what I learned from my own progress as well. And um, after you publish your content, you'll definitely be met with criticism, right? There will be haters. There will be more people that are not haters. They're just pointing out your mistakes. And I think that is an excellent thing. I've had a lot of people like DM me, this is what's wrong in your blog post. You actually got this concept wrong. You got this command wrong. And through that process, people are actually trying to help you learn, right? They have they have good intentions, and don't see constructive criticism as a bad thing.
I think, yeah, those are both excellent. The one thing that I want to also know with, it's draining to create content, to just put stuff out that's quality content, and also do your 9 to 5 thing and everything else, right? But how do you guys stay motivated? How do you, stay motivated to keep pushing forward, and, procrastination, days that you're not productive, whatever else you want to put out there? How do you stay motivated? Let's start with you, Vickie.
That's a good question. I think one of the ways that I stay motivated is just to see content as a natural byproduct of what I'm learning at the moment, right? I think that was a really big thing. I think what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of the content I created, like the content about insecurity serialization, I wrote like maybe like a 10-part blog post about insecurity serialization. And when I was writing that blog post, I was actually learning about these different concepts. And, I was live learning about PHP, type juggling, PHP magic methods. And I see that as a way to sort of document my own learning. It's not purely, for the community, right? It's also for the benefit of myself. And by doing content, I can actually ensure that I'm learning a thing properly, and that I'm learning a concept more comprehensively, right? So that's how I motivate myself with content, is that this is just a byproduct of my own learning progress, and it's not really taking that much of my time extra.
Farah, how about you?
I don't. I don't think I'm always motivated. I don't think it's possible to always be motivated, but I think it's also a mix of discipline, and I think that's much more important for me. I Even if I don't feel motivated, I'll try to do a little bit because that keeps the flow going. So for example, if I'm learning how to code, I'm not gonna aim to do 3 hours of code a day. I might do like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something very realistic, very tiny. Even if I'm taking a small step every day, that's okay. And that helps me not procrastinate, because instead of being like, oh, I have like 3 hours of this to do, I'm like, okay, I'll just have a little to do. That's all right. So it's more the discipline for me than feeling motivated to do something always.
Yeah, I think staying there's no way you can stay motivated every day. If you do, good for you, excellent for you. Um, but yeah, just balance it's a good thing. I think in everything you do, having that balance of being motivated one day, being okay with not being motivated the next day, having discipline is a very hard thing to learn and implement on a day-to-day basis. And I think a lot of the stuff that we do, if you don't have discipline, then it's really hard to get things done.
Yeah,
I
and it's
really
okay
like
to
that
give
idea.
yourself one day
It's
off.
great. Yeah.
It's fine to take a day off and then come back the next day. But it again, I think the key is to not be too harsh on yourself about being productive all the time.
Yeah, it takes a while to learn that. I think a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to just be okay with not doing things. It took me 30 years to figure it out finally, but yeah. All right, do you have any questions you want to ask?
I actually like one from the chat here. Delta Syntax is asking some good things. I will split that in two questions, but the first one says is directed to Farah and say, in one of your videos you are talking about how you started and if creating more content and learning more change that opinion from yourself. The opinion you had in the early videos, you changed thanks to the content you created, or what you have been learning in the process.
Um, I guess a little bit has changed. I think more than content creation, my methodology has changed from when I began. It's a lot due to because of bug bounty, because of triaging as well, and making content. So it's a combination of everything. There is a methodology change, though. I mean, there has to be.
What about you, Vickie? Has your process changed since you started? Do you think you will do maybe add some chapters to the book or something like that?
I think, yeah, my content, I think, naturally evolved over time. And now I think I have like a pretty good mental structure of how I go about creating content, right? So how I do with um what I do when I start writing a technical blog post is that I start listing out all the ideas that I want to cover in that particular blog post, right? And then I just start writing as I would speak everything about those subtopics, and then eventually I go through the entire blog post and make it pretty, right? So it's the structure first, and then I dump my brain on all the topics, and then I edit it. So that's been like pretty consistently my progress for the past like year or so. It's also how I wrote my book.
It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're almost at time. I think we got into almost every question that we could. Some of the questions that came in were either very, very bug bounty specific or very unrelated to the questions. If we didn't get to them, I apologize. Before we wrap things up, love to hear from both of you. What is an advice you have for people that are watching this? They want to get into bug bounty, they want to get into hacking, or they want to get into content creation. Is there a short advice you have to share with us that you can put out there? Let's start with you, Vickie.
Yeah, for sure. I think one advice would be to be kind to yourself, and going back to what we discussed in this live stream, right? Sometimes you don't feel motivated. Sometimes you don't have the energy. Sometimes you just can't find a bug. I think something to keep in mind is that I recently came across this idea of MVD, so a minimally viable day. The idea is basically when you don't feel motivated, when you feel like you just cannot do um, the maximum things that you want to do for that day, just do the least amount of things necessary for that day. So going back to Farah's way of using discipline to make sure that you do certain things. Maybe when you can't find a bug for that day, or you cannot just hack for 8 hours for that day, make sure that you learn one new thing about cybersecurity. And if you learn that one thing, count yourself as successful for that day, right? Because you are moving forward that day in your cybersecurity journey, in your bug bounty journey. You're not really staying stagnant as you feel like you are.
It's good advice. What about you, Farah?
So for people who want to start in bug bounty, so I think I read a question earlier that when I start bug bounties, how do I begin? Like there are just so many requests on Burp. So I feel like that kind of comes a little bit from intuition and a little bit of knowledge. So I really get where that person is coming from because I used to be there. So I would suggest them to just read disclosed reports, read like follow good people on Twitter and read a lot of write-ups. Go to Hacktivity, and that will help you get the intuition when you're looking for bugs, and it will also give you the knowledge that you need. So that's some advice I would want to give for bug bounty hunters. And for content, I think I would like to say that if you're teaching something, when you're teaching something, and if you're also trying to learn it yourself, I think you have a really good place to share. um, and people are really going to relate to you because they will also be learning something new alongside. uh, so I think that's some advice if someone wants to get into content creation.
That's excellent advice. Thank you both so much for showing up and sharing all your knowledge and excuse me, experience with us. Ari, I think I'm out of questions. Do you have anything you want to add, or you guys want to add anything to this interview before we let you go?
I actually just wanted to say thank you. I have been sharing all the useful information in the chat. People are loving the interview and sharing a bunch of questions. We are sorry we couldn't read them all, but again, thank you for being here. And yeah, if you have anything you want to say to the folks here in the chat or watching the stream, feel free, Vickie or Farah. A lot of love in the chat, by the way.
Well, if you both don't really have much else, just again, thank you guys so much for being here, and I'm excited to see what you guys are gonna put out in the next few weeks or months, and see where you guys go.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on today. It was a pleasure. It was really fun.
Yeah, this was a really fun chat. Thank you for having me as well.
Of course, we'll talk to you
Thank
guys
you.
soon. See ya.
Bye.
All right, Ari. Guess what time it is?
It's swag time or giveaway time.
All right. So as promised, we are going to do a giveaway. The keyword for this giveaway is I'm gonna put it in the chat actually. Hold on. Multitasking on my laptop so I can make this work. I think I have it. All right. So here's how it works. The first 10 are going to just be BurpSuite licenses. So right now we're going to do 10 giveaways. All 10 of these are going to be just for the BurpSuite certification. It's $100 value, I believe. What we will do is I'm gonna throw the keyword in there. So this is the keyword. I like the Grandpa Ariel better than my keyword. We'll use that next time. So if you want to
next time,
if you want to play, this is the code. Use this code or type this in. It's gonna put you in the queue, and we're gonna announce 10 winners. And then after the 10 winners, what we'll do is we'll do the 5 giveaway. So the next 5 is going to be both the HackerOne swag and BurpSuite license, or not license, BurpSuite certification. And the way it works is I'm going to message you, either me, Ari, or someone from the HackerOne handle is going to message you on Twitch. So make sure you check your Whisper I'm going to whisper to you. It sounds creepy, but I'm still going to whisper to you. And I'm going to whisper to you, how do you get your swag? So if you want to get swag, just make sure you look at your whispers. And if you don't know how to do whispers, it's on the top right corner. It's like a folder. It's your whisper. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, let's
I
get
love
some.
I love how we both have the same microphone too, and the quality is quality content.
A
Right
good
here.
mic. Yeah.
All right, let's roll it. Ready? Producer in our ears, can you take a note of the users as I come up? Wait, hold on. I gotta make sure I turn the chat off. Maybe hold on. Let me turn the chat off really quick. So this way, I can actually. There we go. All right. I'm gonna open up again a bit. I just want to turn off the chat so we can keep track of the winners. All right, winner number 1. Did it pop up in the chat? Yes, it did. LMMF Vinci. Thank you for participating. Kidney, winner number 2. Fabi Esports, number 3. I'm just waiting for Nightbot to catch up.
Yeah, you're even faster than the bot, dude.
So
Okay.
Fabi Esports, your name just came up. It didn't show in the chat. I'm gonna put it in
Vinci.
the.
Kidney.
Hold on, let me put that in the chat. So we have a Fabi Esports.
Fabi Esports. Congrats.
Can't say that one, but something about
Obi-
no, don't read it. It's a bait. Don't
and-
read it. It's a blow. Don't do it. It's a bait. Don't do it.
Obi-Wan.
Don't. It's
That's
a bait.
it.
Yep. Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. That's it.
All right.
Nice nickname, Obi-Wan.
We're not
Obi-Wan
gonna get
Kenobi.
baited on this stream. Pinky
Yeah.
Mouth, thank you so much for participating. Some of these names are very clever to watch.
Well, but I mean, Obi-Wan there in the chat is happy.
Cinda Remedy, thank you for participating. Also, if you win something, it would help us if you respond with an emote. There we go. Makes our lives a little bit easier. How many was that so far, producer?
We have 6, I think.
1, 2. Yep, we have 6. All right. Next one is Himal 007. Then we have DJ Toy 21.
DJ Toy. Look at that. 8. 2 more to go.
2 more to go.
These
All
are
right, thank you for that.
BurpSuite certifications.
Sunil_P. Also, if I say your name wrong, I apologize. All right, Ari, tell me when to do the last one.
What? I don't know.
Tell me when to roll it. Just tell me when.
Oh, when? Oh, 3, 2, 1, now.
And the last one is Moose Meat. You also won our last giveaway for the BurpSuite. All right.
Awesome.
Here comes
Congrats.
a good swag. We're going to change the keyword this time because this one also includes H1 swag. So the command itself, I got to turn on the chat again, but the command itself is the same thing, just added 2 to it. Very creative of me, I know.
I like the Grandpa Ari way more.
Yeah, Grandpa Ari more? All right, let's change it to Grandpa Ari. Hold on, let me change it really quick. Nope, I lied, chat. Don't do it.
That's it. That's it.
I didn't do it. It's not going to count. It's not going to
Okay,
count.
don't. Wait. Chat, wait. Patience.
Chat just went burr, dude. Okay, so I'm going to...
Seeing that Remedy is asking how to redeem, we will whisper you.
I will send you a whisper on here, yes.
Yeah.
Chat. Okay, hold on. You know what? Let's just do this really quick. I am in control now. I am the captain now. All right, chat. This right here. You see this in the bottom? I'm gonna. I think that is it. Wait, Grandpa. All right. Okay. You ready, chat? I'm gonna turn it on, and we're gonna try this one more time. You ready? All right, go.
Crazy. Go.
That was so quick.
Grandpa Ari, look at how many. A lot of new first-time
whispers.
chats in
All right.
there. Does
All
that
right.
count if you send like a bunch of Grandpa Aris in the same message? Does that
It
count?
counts as
Just-
one. No, it doesn't.
Okay,
Doing it a
but-
bunch and not doing it a bunch.
No,
is-
I mean, but one at least, right?
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
give you multiple chances.
Okay, just making sure it's not like a not.
But I love seeing the spam, so it's fine.
Yeah,
it
it's
makes
good.
it fun.
It's good.
All right, I'm gonna close this off in 3, 2, 1. I'm surprised you didn't participate, Ari. I wanted you to go in here and win some swag.
You know why I'm not doing it? Because I will actually win and we'll have like a problem because it will look like it's it's rigged or something.
All right, first winner is OX Cigar. I think I said that really wrong, but who's
It's
counting?
okay.
Winner number 2 is the Scary Loin. This is for both HackerOne swag and the BurpSuite certification. Number 3, Web Noober. I think I said that right.
Yep.
Number 4 is Zero Guard, right? Zero Guard. And this is our last one. And the final winner for the HackerOne swag and BurpSuite certification goes to Hoops Coach. All right, Coach.
Cool.
I think that is it. Thank you guys again for being here. I really, really appreciate everybody being here and hanging out with us. Either if it's early for you on Monday or just going to bed or very, very late, depending on where you are in the world. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for everybody being here. Ari, do you have anything else you would like to say before we jump off?
No, that's it. Just thank you very much for being here. Thanks for the love in the chat. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for, coming back for season 2.
And of course, we will be back again next week, same time, next Monday. We'll be back with another awesome interview. If you want to know about the guest, go on Twitter, twitter.com/HackerOX01. So HackerOne's account on Twitter. Follow us for the latest updates on our guests. And we'll see you all next week.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.